Welcome back, everybody, to the Breakthrough Moment podcast. Zac Deane here with Sara Kwaider. How are you, Sara? Thanks for joining us.
Good. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you. For those of you at home who don't know Sara, this is a fascinating human being, an entrepreneur through and through, and someone who's probably one of the most read and contribution focused around research papers I've ever met. And so she's written over 500 different research papers, won international awards, helped companies like Nestle, AI companies, business companies, medical papers, you name it, she's done it. And from there, that was her past self. Her current focus right now is all around introducing her brand new brand, Kankusha, which is a beauty brand that beautifully blends the art of self-care with the science of natural beauty. Sara's passion for holistic self-care and authentic beauty radiates through everything she creates. She's not just launching a skincare line, she's launching a movement that reminds us all that you are not past your prime. You are not past your prime yet. So thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you who are here for the first time, the Breakthrough Moment podcast is all around sharing entrepreneurs or investors and startup founders their breakthrough moments throughout their career that took them into the next level of success. And as they share their breakthroughs, it allows us at home to have breakthroughs as well. And so let's dive straight into this, Sara. I'd love to know, take us on the journey, share us a bit of your story and some of your breakthrough moments.
Oh, thank you, Zac, for such a beautiful, wonderful intro. Really love it so much. I feel super inspired to start as well. So, of course, life is such a journey. It did not start here. I'm currently based in Dubai, but I have been living in Malaysia for 14 years. That's where I was doing my research work. And I also entered into helping project manage F&B startups as well. So I set up a few F&B businesses. And that inspired me to set up my own restaurant in 2017, which was successful and is still running till today. I sold my shares in 2018, though, and I decided it was time for a personal journey. I need to do some soul searching. And that's where I got certified as a yoga instructor and I started to practice Ayurvedic healing techniques, meditation, really grounding myself and coming into myself, which was super important. And I started taking odd jobs like online. So marketing, I started, doing newsletters for people. I started designing websites. I started managing social media, which is totally far from what I always did. But I kept saying yes and picking up all these skills. And here we are today. I'm running Kankusha. I built its website myself. I run the social media myself. I do the designs, I do the editing, and I'm like pretty equipped to do that. And because my background in research kind of gets me to self-study and inspire myself to learn, I could learn everything that I needed to know about how to make amazing products, really research back, everything about ingredients, the amounts to use in formulations, all that stuff was really my love for research came in. And here we go. Like we have amazing products with wonderful formulas. And I'm quite excited. It launched about a month ago, so it's pretty new, but I've had customers for over a year while the bureaucratic, system was being set up in the back end of business. I've been selling my products and on the low key, but now thankfully I can do it publicly. And I'm so excited really to bring to the world the products themselves and the idea behind Kankoosha as well.
Awesome. Congratulations. And what a journey you've been on so far. So yeah, I'm super curious, what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs out there who are on a similar journey, who might be going through some similar challenges or things that you've been through? I guess creating a changing career path, but also launching your own startup as well. Do you have any advice?
I love that. Of course. Yes, of course. And, it's really amazing because the entrepreneurs can really learn from each other. It's not an easy thing to set up a company. It really takes a lot from a person. And I think it goes back to the breakthroughs that I've had, and the first of all that I would say, my first breakthrough was really a spiritual one. So Kankusha, actually in Arabic, is derived from the word Mankusha, which means girl with the curly, messy hair. That's actually what it means. And it's generally not said as a compliment. It's said as, girl, your hair is messy, go fix it. So curly hair was not seen as like something beautiful or something presentable or, something that people would like to see. It was like, oh, Kankusha, it's so cute, but go get that fixed. And all my life, I grew up with that messaging of like, I love it. You're so cute, but go get that fixed, tie it up, get it out of our faces and yours as well. So Kankusha is a rebellion and an embodiment of the fact that I believe no matter how we look, what our flaws are, sometimes if we just tune in, we accept them and embrace them and say, you know what? I love what's weird about me. I love that I'm Kankusha. I love that I'm flawed. I can turn and transmute that flawed thing into something that is extremely powerful and extremely unique and all about loving ourselves and being self-confident. And it's from there that you can actually build anything. Because if you're not confident, you don't really have much to back you up. If you're going to expect external validation, there's going to be times when the people around you are just too busy for it. So you need to have that internal validation. And that comes from self-love and confidence and just, being rooted in your own self-worth. So that's the movement of Kankusha. That's what Kankusha really stands for. And that comes to my first breakthrough, which was a spiritual breakthrough. See, when I just launched, when it actually became official, I was going through things in the back of my brain. I was freaking out because I'm an average woman. I'm normal. I've been fed, you need to put makeup, you need to be a certain weight, you need to have a certain look, you need to fit into a certain mold in order to be beautiful and, accepted and wonderful and presentable. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, yeah, but I'm not there yet. I'm still, having that inner critic that's telling me you're not perfect. There's something missing. It's not enough. You need to fix this. This curl is going somewhere it's not supposed to. So that's happening in the back of my brain. And in the forefront, I'm going, guys, Kankusha, let's believe in ourselves. Let's love ourselves. And if there's anything that I'm not, it's a hypocrite. So I was sitting on the day of launching and I was telling my husband, this is a divine comedy. This whole business is a divine joke. God is challenging me to really look at myself and ask myself this important question. Am I truly embodying Kankusha? Or am I just telling people, which is super easy to do, to tell others to live a certain way and then to have that struggle internally that I hide from other people that maybe I'm also, sitting and entertaining an inner critic and really not embodying what I'm trying to teach. And that is so important. So the first thing would be like to try to align with the message that you're giving people. Try to be at the forefront of whatever you're teaching. Lead by example, and you won't have to lead so loudly. So if I'm actually Kankusha, if I'm embracing myself, if I'm being confident, I don't have to say it out loud. Be confident, be great, because my actions are already showing that. My energy, which, people can feel when they're around you, is rooted, is confidence, is self-love, that you won't have to try so hard to convince people to do what you are doing or to do what you hope that they're going to do, which you are doing. So that's my first piece of advice, which links my first breakthrough. The second one would be, look, I know I speak great. I get that. I'm a Leo. I shine. I walk into a room. I believe, I rented out that room. The room is mine. You just don't know it. This podcast, it's mine. You don't know it. It's a Leo thing. It's a Leo thing, right? I am comfortable wherever I am, but I am such an introvert. That's why I worked in research. That's why I love being behind the screen. I never had to really be in front of people. I didn't have to say anything. I just had to type away behind a computer screen, safe and sound in my own bubble. I'm such a hermit. I love being alone. I love reading books. And so meeting people, it makes me nervous. The getting to that point where I'm going to meet the person, that's where my biggest struggle is. I get nervous. So I launched Kankusha again in that same week where I aligned with my message and being the self-love and being the Kankusha and the confidence. And I remember there, in my community here in UAE in Dubai, I live in a beautiful community and there are ladies groups, where hundreds of ladies are in these groups. And once in a while they arrange to meet. And just so happened, they were arranging to meet, a bunch of them, like about 20 of them or so. So I was like, all right, I'm going to join. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to join. It's going to be great. But then on the morning when I was supposed to meet, I stood right outside my door. I was ready. I was ready to go. And I stood outside the door and I'm like, maybe I don't need to go meet them. Maybe I can just work on something at home. Maybe I can design an Instagram thing. I'm trying to talk myself out of going to meeting people because I'm an introvert. It just doesn't come naturally to say, yay, people, I'm going, I'm partying, not my thing. And I remember standing there at the doorway and going, Sarah, it's not you who's going. It's Kankusha who's going. If you want people to know that you exist, you've got to step out of your comfort zone. You've got to meet people. And that's still not yet the biggest breakthrough because look, stepping out of your comfort zone, I mean, that is the ABCs of it. There's nothing incredible about knowing this. It's actually so hard to do. So I was like, look, I get it. You're nervous. Your heart's pumping. You're standing there. You're doing your best to talk yourself out of going. But it's not Sarah who's going. Kankusha is going. And Kankusha is going to do great. And she is ready. She's ready to meet people. She's ready to tell them, hi, look, I exist and I have something that I want to share with you. Before the product even, I have a sisterhood I want to build. I want to stand by my girlfriend. I want to say, look, ladies, I know we've been told we're not amazing how we are and we're not beautiful how we are, but we are. Let's stand in that together. And so I go, and oh my God, like my life changed. My life changed. Really a social breakthrough. I think people don't realize, and I didn't, the power of people who believe in you. Just what people who love you, who believe in you, the doors they will open for you. It's unbelievable. They believe in me more than I sometimes believe in myself. They cheer me on sometimes in a way that overwhelms me. I just have so much work now to do. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm like, guys, you think too highly of me, but please continue to do so because you inspire me. When I'm sitting there and maybe I'm not in the mood to do something, I'm like, no, there are people who have faith in me. There are people who are standing by me. They believe in me. And it just gives me that energy to continue to show up in my best way and just people are amazing. Really, really, really. Shout out to Maryam because I really want her to hear this when she watches this. She's amazing. Man, she dragged my ass beep around town, introduced me to people, encouraged me to do workshops, two of which were super successful, encouraged me to open booths and bazaars. I'm going to be in like 7 of them in the coming 2 months. It's amazing. It's really people get out there, talk to them. It's not about hard selling. I do not hard sell. I don't go buy my product. Trust me, it works. Yeah, of course I'm going to say that. I mean, it's my baby. We all see our kid as the cutest thing, no matter how it looks, right? So sure. No, I'm there. I'm there loving them. I'm there being authentic with them. I'm there sharing my knowledge if they ask for it. And they start really looking up to you and asking you for things and opening doors for you and introducing you to people. And my success has skyrocketed so much from that social breakthrough. So my advice is get out there, meet people. They're not that scary. I remind myself this every time, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Wow. I'm so energized listening to you. You are totally a fun starter. You speak so well. And, being shy and uncomfortable to go to network and things, I can't even imagine. But no, that makes total sense, like, but for me too, sometimes it's like, oh gosh, like who am I chatting to and what am I going to say? And am I going to say the right thing? And, all those different things. So I totally feel you. I think, it's our mind that can play tricks on us sometimes. And it's interesting, even though there are so many references for, say, confident, like the confident me coming out at times, or, I presented in front of 1,000 people. I've done TV presenting and like live television. Sometimes I forget that my brain is so good at forgetting all the wins and all the amazing things sometimes. And so this is a great reminder just to like, take it easy, put yourself in the environment. And that's why I love doing these podcasts and interviewing people, because it's like, it just reminds me it's all about connection, and if what you share can help one person, that's what it's all about,
That's so true.
But yeah.
And every time it might feel like the first time. So you're right. You might have presented 100 times, and for some reason you're still like nervous every time you're doing it. But it's amazing. I think that's just how human it is. And it keeps us humble, I think, because if you start being this super arrogant person, and you forget your humanity, you immediately become unrelatable. So maybe that part of us that still stays like, oh my God, I'm still a human, and maybe they don't see my flaws now, and that's why they're thinking so highly of me, and oh my God, I feel so shy. Or really, if I kept get complimented, I start giggling like a goose. It's not even funny anymore. But it's just who I am. I'm gonna blush, I'm gonna giggle, I'm gonna be like, no, no, no. But I'm grateful. It feeds you. It does feed you. People's love, it feeds you. And it's just amazing. It's wonderful.
Amazing. So cool. And so I'm really curious, Sarah. I know you've, as you said, you've kind of, you had a friend that's kind of pushed you in the right direction. You've had this motivation. Now it's, coming into this inspiration and you're really getting yourself out there. If you could go back to the beginning of starting your business, say you had a time machine and you could just zoom back to the beginning and you could change just one thing, what do you think that one thing would be that would have set you up for more success back then?
Okay, so I love it. Definitely an interesting question because I've done yoga and I've done a lot of meditation. I do not generally look back so much and allow my mind that much noise in searching what went wrong because regret, guilt, those are very low vibe energies. But I always remind myself of like these three key values, which I feel are really, really important for business. And number one would be persistence. Number two would be prayer. And number three would be patience. And if you notice, the key thing that combines the three values is give it time. Just give it time. Things are not going to, yes, of course, we are all fed this idea of like overnight millionaires and overnight sensations. And wow, wouldn't that be an ego boost? Like if I launch Kankusha tomorrow and I sell out today, or launch Kankusha today and have sold out yesterday, that's probably the idealist situation, right? But that's not going to happen. It's not sustainable and it's not how the world works. And energy is fed into something and then energy comes out of something, and that takes buildup. So first is perseverance. It's gonna take time. If you need to lift yourself up in those moments, go and read about these stories. Like I heard somewhere that Coca-Cola only sold like 3 cans or 4 cans in its first year. I know of a woman here who runs a massage or facial company who said in her first year she had like 4 or 5 clients, and by the third year she had a waiting list of people. So it's 3 years. You've got to persevere. Stick with it. If you really believe in what you're doing, like for me, I believe in this movement, then I just need to stick with it and support it and be its biggest fan for as long as I can. Of course, that's where you use your intuition and your intelligence to make sure that, is it a business issue? Do I need to pivot? Is there another challenge other than patience and perseverance? Because if there is, you better pivot, so you got to use your intelligence there. But if you know you're onto something and you can really feel it that you're onto something, then persevere, hang in there, put in the effort, put in the work, and it's going to come out beautiful. The second would be prayer. Honestly, I'm going to tell you one story. I am a storyteller. I have an inspiration that I just want to share. It took 6 months for my bank account for this business to open. 6 months from the moment that I registered my company for my bank account to open. And I was like chilling, riding the wave of life. I didn't worry too much about it. I thought God's timing, God's timing. That's what I was saying. But one day I spoke to a friend and, at the 6 month mark, and she was like, and she's a beautiful manifester and, meditation coach, and she's like an incredible person. And she said to me, you don't even really want this, and, I've sold products by now. I've spent a year at this point of time building the back end of Kankusha. Like, how can you say I didn't want it? I mean, look how much effort I put in making the website and, the designs and all of that, right? So subconsciously, I was able to convince myself I did want it. But the moment she said that, I realized, you know what? You're right. And how did I know that she was right? It's very simple. I never even once prayed. And I am a spiritual person. I like to pray for things. I believe like the universe, God is really, really generous. If I ask, it will rain, So I do pray for things. But I never once said, I hope my bank thing works out. Like, God, I would like divine intervention on the banking thing working out. And I realized for 6 months, I never did that. And that sent me on a 2 week, it didn't take a long time, a 2 week journey meditating on money, meditating on abundance, looking for financial blocks, checking myself for self-sabotage. You've got to do the personal work. You've got to do that. You can support your company. You can support your vision. You've got to always have it together. And it's okay. Take the time, check in. And my mom called me up randomly and she was like, Sarah, why don't you just do some extra prayers? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And within 2 weeks, my whole life changed. So prayer, oh, my whole life changed. It's not even funny. I mean, now I talk to my husband and I'm like, this group and that group and the divas and the buddies. My husband looks at me, he goes, who are you? Like, who are you? The hermit has become like a bloody cult leader. What's going on here, So it's really amazing. The power of prayer gives that beautiful energy. And I think prayer is about believing and working with the universe and asking. The universe is generous. God is generous. Ask. Just ask for stuff. Imagine you're so special. Believe it and ask for it and see how things will change. And my last one is patience. Just be patient. My God. Patience is one of the hardest lessons and the most consistent lessons I get in life. Being patient, standing by it. And it's like perseverance, but perseverance is an active patience. I'm putting energy in, I'm putting in work, I'm going to do something, and I'm going to show up every day, every day. And patience is that part of you in the evening that goes, and now I leave it to the divine timing. And now I've trusted that I worked hard and I'm going to have a good time as well. And I'm going to find that work-life balance because it can't be a 24-hour thing. There's a lot to life that matters. We can't forget those small joys, For me, it's gaming at the end of the night with like some friends and my youngest brother and my husband. We just log in onto computer games and we whoop people. And I'm like, yeah, And during the day, I'm like, self-love, guys, self-love. So yeah, that's definitely the method that I remind myself every day. And that's something that I would tell myself if I were younger and I would offer to other people as
Assistance, prayer,
and
and
patience.
patience. Beautiful. Those are some incredible pieces of wisdom there for sure.
Yeah.
At any point of our journey, we should definitely embody.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. Thank you so much. That's a great reminder. My last couple of questions.
Okay.
I'd love to know, what do you feel like is your main message you'd like listeners to take away today? What's that main or that one thing you'd really like people to embody or to learn or to think about after listening to this podcast?
Love yourself. Love yourself. Get to know who you are. Really, honestly, do it honestly. I have to say reflecting and self-reflecting is something that I'm kind of born with it, or I've just practiced it all my life. I don't even realize that it's something people might in general not do. But then I end up attracting a lot of people because of my reflective nature. I tend to attract people who just want to start doing it. And I realize that sometimes we're scared. We're scared of discovering sides of us that don't align with who we wish we are. But that's the thing. Who we wish we are is possible. It's achievable. It's not, you're not asking to be Batman, or Superman. You're actually asking to be a higher version of yourself. It is such an achievable goal. But to get there, you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. And I don't mean unkind. You don't have to be like, oh, you're an idiot. You made mistakes. No, not that kind of honesty, but like an honesty that goes, today, instead of speaking my truth, I chose to people please. And it's okay if you did it intentionally. So you ask yourself, why did I people? Is that, good for me? Was that the right decision for me at that time? Did that serve to deepen a relationship and perhaps not harm me per se? Because I'm like solid in my truth anyway. So it doesn't matter what actions you take. It could look like it's not really aligned, or it could look very aligned, but the intentions behind it matter. So really look at yourself, be honest with yourself. It's absolutely fine when you criticize yourself. Nobody dies in the process of doing that, but a lot of you grows. And when you shatter your illusions about yourself, you can start to create that beautiful higher person that you believe in, that you want to stand by, and that can actually make your dreams happen. So get to know yourself and love yourself. And that's the basis of every success relationship, family, business, or otherwise.
Great advice. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. How can people get in touch with you and tell us who does your skincare help the most? What are the problems that it solves?
Okay, so that's beautiful. So because Kankusha is a movement, there's a lot of psychology behind it, of course, and a lot of people who really are in tune with my message are women, 30s and above for sure, which is around my age group. And they're ladies who are starting to realize and step into their own power and realize, look, there's so much more to me than a wrinkle or a fine line or a gray hair. Like, and that's a fact, right? So these are women who, number one, align with the message of self-love. And a lot of them love the fact that I call it Kankusha because they have curly hair too as well. And they're like, yeah, we've been told it's ugly, but now we stand by it. It's gorgeous. And it's also people who want to get into organic, natural skincare as well and hair care because I have Ayurvedic lines. So, for example, a hair oil that helps with growth and all, which has been infused in like 11 herbs and it has this whole Ayurvedic science behind it. And then, of course, there are the face creams and the serums, which use minimal amounts of, nasties and chemicals. You've only got the preservative, but everything else is derived from natural sources and yet still works. So they look at my face and they're like, "Oh, you don't put so much makeup. That's amazing. Your skin is great." I'm like, "Use Kankusha," So you got to be your walking ambassador for the brand. So it's mostly women. I do have stuff for men. And sometimes wives will buy for their husbands or, partners. But generally, definitely, I'd love to attract a community of women around me. It's the sisterhood that I'm most excited about. So ladies, especially you, if you would like to reach out to me, you can follow me on Instagram at Kankusha Cares, because I always care. And there's going to be cares with a K because I'm weird. And you can DM me. I'll always be happy to respond. And you can find me on Facebook, which is Facebook/Kankusha without caring because, it's Facebook. Or you can check me out on my LinkedIn. My website is also kankushacares.com. So yeah, I really hope to hear from you and excited to start that journey together.
So good. I'll put the links around this video, around the podcast, everyone, to get in touch with Sara. My last question, Sara, is I'm really, really wanting to know if you could challenge the audience this week, this month, this year, if you could really push them to us or suggest to them a certain thing that challenges them to get to the next level or push their comfort zone in a great way, what would that challenge be?
I challenge you to silence the inner critic, at least start with a day. If you can redirect that energy and that thought process, you look in the mirror in the morning or whenever the hell you ended up looking in the mirror and you go, ugh, so do not do that. I challenge you for one day to look at yourself and say thank you and to say, I love you. Wow, I'm amazing. And if you start with a day, it'll be a week and it'll be a year from then on. And then you have nothing standing in your way, to success because you've gotten out of the way. And trust me, sometimes we're the biggest obstacles. So I challenge you to silence the inner critic, especially when it comes to your look.
Great pieces of advice. That's super important in business as well, hey, because the noise can
Yeah.
sometimes crowd or take over the volume of the inner voice. So I guess turn that inner voice into positivity and see how that ripples into one day, a week, month.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Stop spending so much time with yourself. That's what I always say. Like, I'm an introvert, I understand, but don't spend this much time with yourself that you're sitting with an inner critic and having a dialogue in there. Like, get out of your head and like meet people or distract yourself outwardly, channel that energy outward and stop with this inward thing. Half of life is not working within your head. It's working outside of you. So be here in that space.
That's such a great point. Thank you so much for your wisdom, your energy, your stories. Everyone at home, get in touch with Sara. I'll link all of her links around here somewhere. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Any final comments?
I'm good. I appreciate you so much, Jack. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.